Paul, we have to start with the geopolitics here because there's a lot of them, as we were just speaking to Piotr about. Does the shutdown risk trump all of that? Pun not intended.
I don't think it matters really very much at all from what we're seeing so far, Kriti. If you look at global equity markets, they just continue that march higher. It's really all about this AI trade and AI enthusiasm, and we're feeling that particularly strongly in Asia this week. We've had Sam Altman from OpenAI kind of moving around the region. He went to Japan. He's like a wizard with a magic wand, touches a few companies. We get some rallies. Hitachi today. Before that, he was in South Korea, same sort of thing. You know, there's all of these little tie-ups and deals that we're seeing. There was another one in Japan today, Fujitsu, with Nvidia as well, you know, giving the market that kind of continual sense of optimism that is getting excited about the AI. And on the infrastructure side, we've got a $40 billion deal going on as well today. You know, all of this is continuing to push up those chip stocks, the tech stocks, and continuing to perpetuate that rally. And I really think the market's more focused on that than they are worried about the geopolitics just at this moment.
Just give me it's amazing the offset that AI is providing in terms of the momentum, plus also the kind of the passive flows that we're seeing all around all of that. Paul, just give me a sense of what is happening with Japan at the moment. I saw you made this comment a little bit earlier on about what's happening with the hard data. Can't wait for the hard data, need to get on with it. You've also got the LDP election coming up over the weekend. How much potential is there for volatility in Japanese assets as a result of some of this?
I think that the market and hedge funds in particular are quite interested in what's going to happen with the leadership vote for the LDP, because there's quite a big difference between the potential candidates who could win here. If we have Takaichi, she may be you know, more favourable for the equities market, but the view is that she's a little bit like a Liz Truss kind of a figure. You know, more spending, would prefer the central bank to be more on the dovish side, so it might be not so good for Japanese government bonds, even though it might weigh also on the currency. Whereas, you know, if we have somebody else coming through, they may be kind of more of an opposite view of that. And then we have Hayashi, who's like the third person in the race at the moment. But because of the complicated way that the votes work, it partly depends on party membership, partly depends on the lawmakers who are in power. There is that path that we've seen before where the person who's the most centrist is the one that actually comes through. In which case, you know, markets might breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief, and that might damp some of that volatility.
All right, Paul, walk us through then what the next, I want to say, 7 days looks like. As we see more of these geopolitical headlines, more of the defense headlines, a prolonged government shutdown, is that a positive or negative for U.S. assets from where you are?
I think that, you know, the longer the shutdown goes on, the more of a negative it's going to be for U.S. assets. That's the thing that people are going to have to be worried about. So keep paying attention to when we get signs of a deal being done.